it going, everybody? Welcome to General Hospital MV, my GH After Show. Let's get right into it. Usually I'd start off by saying let's save the Peter August stuff for last, but not this time. We're popping off. Let's discuss Peter August because this was a week we have all been waiting for. It's the week where all of his secrets come out. Was it everything that we hoped for? Let's discuss. So where we last left off, someone was creeping up on Maxie at Nathan's gravesite, and sure enough, it was Dr. Lisa Lobrecht trying once again to get through to Maxie. Unsuccessfully, of course. On the plus side, Liesl knew exactly why Maxie was there. It was to get Nathan's blessing, which of course she did not get, and Liesl begged Maxie to listen to Nathan, but of course, nothing. Dang, whatever Kool-Aid Maxie's been spoon-fed the last 3 years must be strong. Now, while this was happening, the bridal party was panicking, not knowing where Maxie actually was, and Maxie had her phone turned off, so when she turned it back on and realized everyone was panicking, she headed back to the venue. Now, meanwhile, Anna is beside herself because she knows that the wedding is not going to happen, and she's trying really hard to cover it up, and failing miserably. Now Peter, on the other hand, he is practically gloating to himself in the mirror saying that he's won, and then Dante shows up and gives him fair warning that if he harms Maxie, he will have to pay for it. In other words, Dante's gonna have to complete his mission, whatever that is. Valentine shows up, so Dante leaves, and Valentine gives Peter a present of cufflinks. I'm not sure if there's any significance to them. Like, I don't know if there's like a recording device in them or something. They kind of almost seem to imply it, but nothing else happened with them the rest of the week. For good reasons, obviously, but we'll get into that later. But once Valentine leaves, he makes a phone call and says it's on, and then someone sneaks into the room and knocks Peter out. Yes! I lived for it. The next day, we see Peter passed out in an unknown location, and at this point, Maxie's already ready to go, so is Anna, but Maxie realizes that Peter is missing, so they all form a search party. We learned that it was Valentine and Anna that kidnapped Peter, which was obvious at this point. Valentine tells Anna that he is stashing Peter somewhere where no one will find him, and then not even a few minutes later, Dante happens to be in the parking garage of the Metro Court, and it turns out Peter is in the utility closet in that garage, and Dante hears him and rescues him. Are you kidding me? Valentine, all these years that you were supposedly in the WSB and the best you could do was a supply closet in the venue where he's supposed to be? For real. Ugh. And with that, the wedding begins, but thankfully, before Lucy, who's facilitating the wedding, can get through half her speech, Dr. Liesl storms in and interrupts the wedding. I think that Lisa wanted the line, "Speak now or forever hold your peace," but something tells me Lucy was never planning on saying that. Let's be real, if Lucy actually asked if anyone objected, you know the entire wedding party would have stood up. I would have stood up. The entire audience probably would have stood up. I love that when Liesl showed up, Violet was like, uh-oh. It kind of reminds me of when Mac and Felicia were getting married and Richard Simmons shows up and Emma's like, this wedding is bananas. It was adorable. But anyway, before we get into the shenanigans of what went down at the wedding, can we just quickly talk about who wasn't at this wedding? I mean, we already mentioned Felicia last week. She's taking care of a family member no one has heard of before, which is, I'm assuming, a behind the scenes thing. But Robin and Emma not being at their mother/grandmother's wedding is a bit far-fetched. It wouldn't have bothered me so much if they explained why they couldn't be there, but they didn't even do that. I'm kinda hoping that Anna maybe gave Robin a heads up and let her know that this wedding wasn't going to happen, so that it would be better for her and Emma not to show up. That's what I'm hoping they reveal eventually, but they should have revealed that before. Anyway, back to it. So Liesl showed up at the wedding to play the flash drive from Alex to Peter, and that's how he finds out that Alex is really his mom. Thankfully, Anna didn't deny it. Peter was devastated, but you know what? So was I. The way Liesl was carrying on the week before, it seemed like there was a lot more to that flash drive, but that was really it. But yeah, like I said, Peter was devastated, but he wasn't the only one. Dr. Finn was equally devastated that Anna didn't spill the secret to him and lied about the DNA test. I guess it kind of hits a little close to home, but we'll get into Finn a little bit later. I still want to continue with this Peter August stuff. Now, obviously, this revelation alone isn't enough to actually shake Maxie up, and she wants to continue to go through with the wedding, even if Anna and Finn aren't there. But man, Valentine shows up to save the day. He wants them to not get married, so he spills all the damn tea. All of it. Being a willing participant in Drew's kidnapping in the first place, Shiloh knowing the truth and blackmailing him to help him escape prison, and showing up with a boatload of money on the pier, murdering Drew Kane by bringing down his plane, which Sam was absolutely livid about. I don't think I've seen that much emotion out of Sam in years. Kelly Monaco killed that scene. Sam was ready to punch him out. Oh yeah, and also the fact that he tried to assassinate Franco and Andre. Now to everyone else this makes sense, but Maxie is obviously reluctant to believe it. She asks if Anna knew, and Valentine says yes, and she's like, well no, Anna would never lie to me about this thing. Robert calls her up and gets her to come back to the venue, and Anna says everything is true, and Maxie is obviously completely devastated. Now of course Peter continued to deny everything and said that everyone else was lying, and Anna was like, no, I'm not. I gave you every chance to tell the truth and you refused to, and you got rid of the evidence. Now the stress from the situation actually starts to affect Maxie's baby, especially when Mac punches out Peter. Hell yes, I was here for that too. So Maxie's loved ones take her to the hospital and the rest of them hold Peter back so that he doesn't go with her because she doesn't need more stress. At first Maxie thought she was going into premature labor, but I gotta ask, how premature would it be exactly? I am pretty sure that we found out Maxie was pregnant in March of last year. It has been a year. Hey Maxie, are you sure that there's not a pillow underneath that? I mean, I wouldn't judge you this time. To be honest, I don't know why the writers keep giving Maxie children in the first place. We never see the kids that she does have. We see little Georgie like maybe once a year. James, I don't think we've actually seen him since he was born. So what's the point in giving her a third? Needless to say, it wasn't premature labor. It wasn't labor of any kind, but they want to run more tests and they think that there could be some other issue with the baby. Maxie decides to take the opportunity while they're waiting to confront Britt on why she didn't tell her anything. Maxie, the entire town warned you about this guy. Everybody warned you. You don't want to hear the truth. And what makes me so mad is that despite learning the truth from everyone, including Anna, she is still kind of debating going forward with Peter. Are you kidding me? Do not tell me that I have been sitting here watching this god-awful storyline for 3 years for Maxie to not find her intelligence after she learns the truth. I am so mad. I hope that they can rectify this, but right now I am livid. Now there's one aspect of the story that we haven't discussed yet. It's Franco. He moves into the Metrocorp because he's trying to keep his family safe before he can go into Shady Brook. And Franco finds a video phone with a message from Frankendrew. I haven't said that word in a while. And I actually forgot about this. I forgot that Frankendrew actually left a message for Franco to see. Now the video message itself doesn't really reveal anything. He's basically just telling Franco to live his life to the fullest and to be there for his family. But what it does do is trigger the memory that Franco is having from Drew in his head about Peter. He actually sees quite clearly that Peter was definitely a willing participant in Drew's kidnapping. And after that, this is where I get confused, okay? So try to follow. So Franco goes down to the ballroom to try and confront Peter August, but Peter was already gone. Sam and Dante were there, and he says that the voice in his head belonged to Drew, which no it didn't. It definitely belonged to Peter. I don't know if that was a flub of the line or not, but it really confused me. He then goes on to say that if anyone hears from Jason, please let him know that no matter what happens, I am still the same person. Now, if I'm understanding that correctly, I feel like he is implying that if he does something horrendous at this point, that it's not the tumor that's making him do it, he's just doing it on his own, which also implies that perhaps the tumor didn't make him do all those horrendous things in the past. Meanwhile, we see that Peter August has gotten himself a gun and he's running down the stairs of the Metrocorp. God knows why he's not taking the elevator, but he stops on the stairwell and out comes someone from one of the doorways and conks Peter on the head with a crowbar, and yes, it's Franco. I ain't gonna lie, I'm okay with this. Someone had to knock the guy out. I never would have thought I'd be cheering on my least favorite characters in the storyline. Between Franco and Valentine, I'm shocked. So y'all get a pass this week, but I'm keeping my eyes on you. Alright, let's move on and talk about Dr. Finn. Now, as I mentioned before, he was completely devastated over Anna's lie. He goes over to Jackie Templeton's room to pick up Violet because that's where she was staying, but at that point, Chase had already picked her up and taken her back to his apartment. Jackie and Finn talk about the irony and the similarities between Anna and Finn's situation with Peter and Chase's situation with Jackie and Gregory. Finn is about to leave her apartment when Jackie says, please don't go, and I was like, oh, no, they're not going to do it. I totally thought that they were gonna sleep together, but they didn't. But something great happened, something that I called. Now, Gregory was about to visit Jackie, and he overhears them talking, and they're not mentioning, Chase and the fact that he could be his son or anything, but she does mention that she was attracted to Finn, and obviously Gregory has no idea about that. I told y'all that if Finn doesn't tell Chase the truth, that he is going to find out some other way, And this is probably gonna be the way because now Gregory's gonna have a bunch of questions. And he's gonna figure out the answers. And he'll probably tell Chase the truth. And Chase will lose the trust of his brother slash potential father. The drama. I am here for it, but poor Chase. Okay, finally, let's talk about the Carly and Nina drama. You know, at the start of this week, I had real high hopes for Nina that she was going to take the high road and just take Ava's advice and be nice to Carly because who knows better than Ava about, you know, sharing custody with the Corinthos clan. Michael and Willow invite Nina over to spend time with Wiley at the Quartermains, and she is happy to be there. And then when she's alone with Wiley, she takes it upon herself to tell Wiley that Willow isn't his real mom. The kid is 2 years old! Or 3, I can't remember. The kid can barely speak, but apparently when Willow put on his jammies, Wiley said that Willow is not his real mom, and she was devastated. That seems to be the word of the week here on GHMV, devastated. Everyone's devastated. Carly, of course, just happened to be there, and she had that look, you know, the I told you so look. I hate that Carly is right. Carly doesn't need to be right all the time, writers. In fact, I think it would humble the character and make the audience like her a little bit better if she was wrong sometimes. Nina, do not tell me that you didn't know any better than to drop that bombshell on that little toddler without Michael and Willow's permission. I thought you were smarter than this. In fact, I'm pretty sure you are. Oh, that made me so mad. That was GH in a nutshell this week. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit let down. I mean, the week itself was fire overall, the acting was stellar, the confrontations were beautifully done, but the fact that Maxie didn't seem to care about the crimes that Peter committed and the fact that Nina proved that Carly was right really disappointed me. I really hope that they can actually salvage these stories because they were doing so good this week until the very end. Like, oh. I'm so mad about it, you guys. What did you think of GH this week? Let me know in the comments below what your favorite moments were, what you hated about it. Actually, tell me what your favorite looks from the wedding were. Personally, I thought Kelly Monaco, aka Sam, looked gorgeous. And same with Brianna Nicole Henry, aka Jordan. She worked that dress. Let me know what your favorite looks were. And on that note, if you liked this video, give it a big ol' thumbs up, subscribe if you want to, and I will catch you guys this Wednesday for another GHMV Reacts. Peace out.